Hello, Adam Bazalgette here, founder of Scratch Golf Academy. Today, effortless swing initiation, how to start that backswing smoothly and powerfully. Really important subject. There's different sorts of mistakes people make though. I'll show you some options, some drills to work on it based on the tendencies you have. Well, many years ago, I was lucky enough on several occasions to spend some time around the great, or the late great, I should say, Mo Norman. And one of his habits, as you may recall if you've watched him, is he'd start the club somewhere over here like that, and then off he'd go. I don't think he was a guy that had trouble starting his backswing, but I asked him, why do you do that? And he's just said, hey, that's the hardest part of the swing, that beginning. I just take it out of there. So kind of an interesting sort of a thought. Now, obviously worked pretty well for him. Now, there's all kinds of different keys you'll see. You'll see Jack Nicklaus back in his heydays, big cock of the head, little shrug of the shoulders, and off he went. Gary Player was more of a kick the knee and go. Sam Snead, a little twitch there. Nick Price actually bounced his thumb up and down a little bit and did that. So there's obviously different ways you can do it. Those are great ball strikers there. Let's try to figure out what's right for you. Now, we've got three drills, three categories that I want you to see if you find yourself in these and ideas as to how to fix those. But let's begin on the computer. We'll have a little look at what we're trying to accomplish in the backswing and maybe some tendencies that you might have in comparison. Then we'll get out and do our drills. So let's look at a couple of things we're trying to achieve in a backswing. Justin Rose from both angles there. And what you'll notice, the club, if you watch the golf club and peripherally watch his body, they complete at about the same time. So that means certainly the club has more distance to cover, certainly it's flowing, but as you watch him, you can really see an engaged look. Look at his chest and upper arm, maybe the sides of his hips there. Everything's working nicely, but with some flow. And you can see here, certainly there's engagement in the core of his body, but his legs are fairly stable. So how do we get this blend? Well, here's a typical example of someone, let's say, we'll stop at that point with Justin. I'm imitating a typical example who doesn't get the club flowing very well, doesn't use their wrists well, and consequently gets lots of excessive body movement, legs moving, head shifting, lots going on, but not enough movement of the golf club. And you might see that from this angle, lots of unreasonable lower body motion without the flow of the golf club. But by the same token, you'll get some people that do this sort of thing. They just kind of snatch the club back. They don't retain much width. They don't engage their body enough. So as we move forward here, we're going to look at three things you could work on, but you should look at yourself on video. This is the sort of look you want. Engaged, but still nice and steady with the head, legs pretty stable, but some flow so the club gets back there to match the turn. So if you're in the category there where there's lots of unstable movement, head moving around, legs excessively moving, that sort of a thing, you've got to shore that pivot up a little bit. And what I would suggest is an old drill that was a favorite of David Ledbetter's. Get some good solid athletic posture. Put your hands on the side of your legs like so, and just using your abs, using your core, hike one hand up a few inches and the other hand down. In other words, we're feeling this sort of motion. So I feel very engaged, but actually very steady with my head and my knees there, not a lot of movement. And start to work that in. Now, you're probably also going to need more flow in the club. We'll be dealing with that in just a couple of segments here, but start by working on that pivot. So, hey, your friends, when you hit one, shouldn't be able to tell you're using this, but they should see you being nice and stable and nice and balanced there as you start back. You'll feel the engagement. And as always, practice that a couple of times there. Small scale. I feel that little bit of engagement there. I'm starting to get the feel. Ramp it up when you get the sense of it. All right, if you're in that category, you're just picking the club up, not much movement at all, not sufficient movement. Try this for an idea. Get your good dynamic posture, get your fists like so, and just sort of piston on this 45-degree angle so you feel your trail side get deeper and more behind you. You feel some engagement. Certainly there's some resistance in the shins and the knees there, but I really feel some movement here. I often find when people get told you need to make a bigger turn, they just lean off the ball, they turn too level. Could be a helpful tip, but if you're doing that, this is the drill for you. You need to feel that. And as you do so, certainly there has to be some flow in the arm swing, but you need to feel like the space between your wrists and your torso is very consistent. So it's going to feel a well engaged there with nice consistent width going back. Let's look at our next one. Okay, so we'll get to our trigger and initiation momentarily, but let's touch on that final category, the golfer that has lots of body motion but really never gets the club head moving. almost always it's a lack of freedom in the wrist. So this isn't a grip video per se, but you've got to grip it enough down in the fingers that you feel like you can really work your wrist and club. Test yourself with that. I can do that very easily. I feel the weight of the club. Now here's the drill I would do for that. I would set up, let's do a practice swing first. I'd swing the club forward a couple of feet. I'm not really turning a lot. I'm not doing that. I'm just swinging it forward. Then I initiate my swing by swinging the club back. It gives the club head some energy as you go. So again, we're assuming put the ball on a tee. I'm going to go over the top of it here, swing back, swing through. I certainly feel some engagement here, but I feel the engagement here is allowing or is initiating that club to move forward, back, and to some extent I almost feel like the momentum of the club is what my body's chasing going back. So those are different options for you. Now just bashing balls, it's fun. I like bashing balls sometimes, especially with the driver, but don't kid yourself. You are probably not going to uncover some subtleties when you do that. So film yourself, see which of these categories fits you, try these drills out. As we showed you at the beginning, some great players with very different triggers. Play around with some ideas. You can even do this at home practicing your swing. Is a little bump of the knee, is a little sense of squeezing the arms or a tiny tilt of the head, something that gets you off on the right sort of foot, gets you going, but initiates the proper sorts of movement combinations that will make you a better swinger of the club. Invest some time, have some fun with it. I think you'll do well.